y una paella de polla. And he just looks at me and he was like, he literally covered his face, like, with his notepad and just went bright red. And behind it, I could tell that he was laughing. He was like, you
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another British English conversation with me and our wonderful guest that I'm sure she rings a bell. I'm sure you've seen her somewhere in the ether. So I'll get straight into it. And Emma, welcome. And how are you?
Thank you. I love that phrase, in the ether. It makes it sound like I'm floating around in space, so waving from space. But I'm doing really well. Yeah. Hello. But I'm doing really well. Yeah, I've survived the summer here in Barcelona. It's starting to cool down. It's less muggy and disgusting. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm a happier Emma than I was 1 month ago. What about you?
Excellent. I'm pretty happy as well, to be honest. I've just got back to Brussels after having spent a little bit of time in the south of Spain and back home. So it was nice to have these two very different summers where I was also sweating buckets in Cadiz and Seville. There was one moment
Brutal.
where I actually took a photo of one of the thermometers, which marked 50 degrees.
That's
Which,
insane.
it's true that in Seville it's a very dry heat, so you don't sweat quite as much as maybe on the Mediterranean, like in Barcelona, but still, it's
Yeah.
like, how is this possible? And then going back to Yorkshire, back home, and I was like, oh, this is lovely, 20
Yeah.
degrees. It's like drizzling a little bit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I know. You know what? When I went back to England, I forgot how horrible the summers really can be. I was there. I was there in June. I was there for a conference up in Newcastle, and I was only there for like 5 or 6 days, which is enough for me. I get very bored of England. I've got to come back.
Uh-huh.
And it was about 25 degrees.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, 25, that's not bad. England in June, especially Newcastle, that's not bad at all. But oh my goodness, Lewis, the the humidity. I forgot how horrible it was in England. Like, there's no humidity like it. Well, I mean, there is, like, if you go to some tropical rainforest, yeah. But it is brutal as a humidity. Those 25 degrees were awful.
The
Like,
worst 25 degrees you've ever experienced.
worst 25 degrees ever. Like, I would happily take 35 degrees in Seville, for example, than 25 degrees in England. But, like, the humidity does not mess around. It doesn't
I
mess
know what you
around.
mean. Like, the worst thing about it is that in the UK and England, like, there's no aircon. So
Yeah, no
at the end
escape.
of the day, it's not going to get better. If you go inside, it's going to get worse. So you might as well be outside.
Yeah.
And then, of course, English people aren't used to it. So there are lots of these like reels and stuff like that that show people complaining about the lack of sun and the lack of summer throughout the whole year. Like, typical British weather. And then the moment it gets nice and sunny, we're immediately like, oh, this is horrible. I can't sleep. Oof, I need to get
It's too
aircon.
hot. Yeah.
Never happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Never happy at all.
All right, this is so British, isn't it? Complaining about the weather.
Great. And that's what we're doing right now. So
It is literally what we are doing.
I mentioned that I was kind of half of my summer in the south of Spain, the other half back home. I've just got back. How about you? Did you stay in and around Barcelona or did you move around? What did you get up to?
What did I do this summer? Honestly, I don't remember.
For reference, it's only the 10th of September, so Emma should remember.
Yeah. Thanks for that. What did I do? Oh, I went to France and
Oh.
Switzerland. I felt very European. So I flew to Switzerland, and my friend was like, "I'm going to pick you up from the airport." She came to pick me up from the airport, and we're driving like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. She's like, "Oh, we're just about to go over the border." I'm like, "Go over the border? I thought you lived in Geneva."
Uh-huh.
She's like, "No, I live in France." Like, okay. So I felt very European driving like 15 minutes between Geneva Airport to this little village in France where she lives. And then I stayed there for a little bit. And then we did a road trip. I mean, by road trip, it was like 4 hours, you know.
Mhm.
Um, we drove 2 hours and then had a bit of a break, drove another 2 hours to Montpellier. And then we were there seeing another friend there for a couple of days. And then I felt super European getting on the train.
To
Uh,
Italy.
back to Switzerland. Just doing a little loop. No, coming back home to Barcelona.
Ah, okay.
It was like 3 hours on the train or something. It was really quick. You know, it was on the ABE, you know,
Mhm.
the speedy train, what do they call it?
The
The high speed
high-speed
train.
train? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I like to call it the speedy train. Sounds cute. Um, so yeah, like 3.5 hours or something. And it was so strange because you cross the border and you don't even realize. And they don't check anything, like no passports. I thought,
Uh-huh.
wow, this is great. So yeah, I've been bopping around. I've been bopping around France. I went to Lyon as well for another networking event. And that's pretty much it. That's been my
Okay.
summer.
Sounds
Yeah.
pretty good, pretty chill, but a
Yeah.
little bit adventurous at the same time. And on that note of
Yeah.
feeling European, it is nice when you can get the train from one country to another
Yeah.
and have different languages as well. I do it from time to time, going from Brussels to Amsterdam, or Brussels to Cologne, or
Yeah.
Brussels to Lille. It's like, ooh, everything's just a stone's throw away. It's all
I
so
know.
close.
Isn't it so strange? You can just like within Europe, depending on where you are, you can drive 10 minutes and they speak a completely different language,
Like,
different culture, different currency.
it's
Yeah.
madness. And I want to ask about the food because I usually ask people about food. Whenever we have any
Hmm.
conversation about any topic, it
Yeah.
always comes back to food. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have heard that, what's it called? Lyon in particular is a very foodie city.
It is.
Montpellier, I've never been, but France is France. So
Mm.
great bread, great butter,
Mm-hmm.
other things as well. But
Yeah.
in Lyon in particular, what was the food vibe like?
Lyon. Oh, so when I went to Lyon, I went for a networking event and it was so hot. Literally like the day before we arrived and the day after we left. Um the weather was perfect. Just those few days that we were there, they had a heat
Typical.
wave. Of course. And the same happened when I went to Geneva and Montpellier as well. Exactly the same thing happened. I think it's just me. You know, I just bring the heat, bring the heat wave with me. Um, but yeah, we didn't really get to explore that much because it was just so hot. And of course, nowhere's air conditioned because it doesn't normally get that hot, kind of like England.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I remember every single meal I had, it was amazing. And I'm vegetarian, so my expectations are normally quite low. Like, you know, I never expect anything super fancy. Because a lot of the time, I mean, in restaurants, tapas bars and stuff I go to, it's normally tortilla de patatas, pan con tomate. People listening are not gonna know what I'm saying here unless they're a Spanish speaker, but like Spanish
There will
omelets
be a
and
lot of
stuff and
Spanish
bread.
speakers listening, I'm sure.
Okay, then hola. Yeah, just like omelets and bread and potatoes, patata bravas. Like
Yeah.
that's literally what I live off in
All
tapas
the
bars in
carbs.
Spain. Yeah, that's why I've put on so much weight.
I'm sure you haven't. I'm sure you haven't. I mean,
um,
one good
so
Spanish option for kind of cheap and cheerful, nice, tasty, healthy tapas
uh-huh.
is espinacas con garbanzos, which is spinach with chickpeas, which is a staple in the south of Spain.
I was gonna
And
say I
it's
never
like so
tried that.
simple,
Yeah.
but it's so tasty. And
Yeah.
it's literally just a stew of spinach, maybe a little bit of
Right.
paprika, a bit of cumin, a little bit of like bread as well, with some chickpeas, which chickpeas are good in everything, I think. So
Good protein.
if you do ever see it on the menu, give it a go. You'll love it.
I will. I will. So, you know, I live in Barcelona. They have their own cuisine. I've not come across that. Yeah, I've not come across that. I'll have
You're in for
to.
a treat.
Yeah.
I'm sure
You'll be the first to know when I try it.
exactly like, oh my God, I just tried it. Best
Yeah.
spinach ever.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, let's get kind of focused for a second. and
Serious.
just put your serious faces on, your serious ears on to listen. And basically, well, there's no reason to be that serious, but this is another conversation between two Brits, just, having a natter on, a chit chat. And the idea, as I mentioned last week, is to have some regular guests on this podcast of British English conversations and talking about different topics, maybe going over about some interesting things in the world, or just asking each other some random questions. And Emma asked yesterday, like, oh, is there anything I need to prepare? And usually I'm quite laid back with these things, maybe too laid back. And I was just like, it's fine. I'll just ask you some random questions. So that's what I'm going to do.
It's
So I have,
literally what he's done. ChatGPT. What can I ask this girl?
it's like, okay, tell me
Make it
20
interesting.
random questions about different topics for a fun conversation. And voila, like magic.
Let's let's see them. Yeah.
Let's see them. Some might be weird, some might be wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, let me try with the first one that catches my eye. And it is, do you prefer big cities or small towns? And why?
Depends. If it's to visit, I definitely like big cities. If it's to live, then I prefer small towns.
Okay.
Like, so I don't live in the center of Barcelona. I live outside of the center because, I mean, Barcelona is so chaotic. I remember when we were looking for a place to live, we were staying with some friends, on the like in this random little town nearby, and we went into Barcelona. We were just walking around, and then it was such a busy, horrible day. It was like April, tourists are just starting to come, and yeah, it was just so chaotic. We got on the train, we got back into this little village, we're like heading home, heading back to our friend's place, and it was just so quiet. Like, we got off the train and it's just like no one around. And we looked at we must have had the same thought at the exact same time, but we looked at each other, and I remember my boyfriend looking at me going, "Do you think we should move here?"
Wow.
Yeah, because it was just so peaceful. So yeah, I prefer to live on the outskirts of cities rather than in the big cities. Being close to them is nice, but not living in the middle of them. No.
I mean, I know what you mean. Like here, I live not exactly in the city center of Brussels, but it's a very popular and busy neighborhood, and it's a nice neighborhood. But like I came back a couple of days ago and then instantly going from being in a small town near Leeds to coming here, I heard in the middle of the night sirens. And then when I walk out, there's roadworks as well everywhere. And then if I go a little bit closer to the center, then I guess there's positives. You hear lots of languages and lots of people on holiday. But
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like walking and I hate the feeling where I'm walking behind people and I want to overtake them, but I feel a bit awkward and creepy that I'm walking behind them and I'm like waiting for my moment to overtake. And these are all the things that kind of get on my nerves when it comes to living in a big city. So
Mm,
maybe in the future it's time to live in the countryside, but not like in the middle of nowhere, because then
yeah.
I feel like you do miss out on like social activities.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You feel quite disconnected, or at least I feel quite disconnected. I much prefer, like, for example, where I live, it's a nice little village, but I know that I can hop on the train and in 25, 30 minutes, I'm in the center of Barcelona.
Uh-huh.
And I can go see, the Sagrada Familia. I can go to a museum. I can um do whatever, go shopping. Like, I'm not so cut off, but it's so nice to just get off the train and be like, "Oh, I can breathe. Not a tourist in sight."
And you don't have to overtake people in front of you. You can just walk.
Just walk. And because it's a village, everyone is like old and they walk slowly anyway, but yeah, it's just, yeah, so much nicer. I much prefer it.
And for
Yeah.
dog walking as well. I'm dog sitting this weekend,
Oh,
and
yeah?
there are lots of parks around. But again, it's kind of dangerous at times. Whereas if I lived in the middle of nowhere, it'd be nice because you can let the dog
Mm,
off the lead a lot more. They can be free, which here in the center of Brussels isn't really an option. So
yep.
it's another thing to bear in mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really true. Yeah, I have a dog and she absolutely hates Barcelona.
But she loves the outskirts.
But she loves the outskirts of Barcelona because we live really close to a forest. Like literally from my door to on top of a mountain, it's 10-15 minutes. Like it's that close. Like 10-15 minute walk.
Mhm.
Like it's really that close. So I'll take her out and when it's not, boiling or freezing, I'll take her out to the mountains. And it's just amazing. And you wouldn't really get that so close in Barcelona. So
Okay.
like living in the center, I mean. So it's another perk.
Awesome. Sounds good. Let's move on now to a second question. I'll quickly scan the options. And
You got plenty of it.
yeah, I know. All right, let's talk about TV/series. What's a
Mhm.
TV show/series that you've watched more than once that you wouldn't mind repeating and watching over and over again? They never get boring.
Oh god. Really? Absolutely nothing.
No?
Like, no, no, no.
They all get
Because I
boring?
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing that really comes to mind, I'll be honest. I'm trying to think like what have I seen on Netflix? I'm not really like a rewatching person. I rewatch films, but I
Mhm.
don't rewatch TV series, and I think it's because I know where the story's going and it's really long anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but films I sometimes rewatch, especially when I'm a little bit poorly, like if I don't feel very well and I don't want to think, I don't want surprises, I don't want to think about the story or the plot or where this is going. Like I just want to sit on my sofa, rot, and watch a film. And normally that film is something like Bridget Jones's Diary.
Uh-huh.
Um like back in like the early 2000s, there were loads of these really cheesy, awful American comedies. I'm
Like
trying to think.
rom-com kind of thing, or
Things like that. I mean, that would kind of fall into that category, but like The Hangover, you know what I mean? These
Mhm.
sorts of kind of sort of
Super bad,
cheesy.
maybe?
Yes. Yeah, with McLovin. Was that what McLovin was super bad? I
Yeah,
can't
yeah, yeah.
remember.
That was McLaughlin. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if anyone hasn't seen it, they're gonna have no idea what we're talking about. McLovin. Actually, I was in New York, a few months ago. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I went to New York this
You've
summer
been
as
all over
well.
the place.
I know, yeah, genuinely, I forgot. But yeah, I went to New York before the summer. I mean, that was in May. That was a bit different. But, I went to New York and inside one of the little tourist shops, one thing I like to do is collect magnets wherever I
Uh-huh.
go. And they had like one of these little stands that you can spin around with these ID cards, but they were like obviously fake ID cards, like funny, jokey ones. And one was McLovin.
Yeah, I got a fake ID, yo.
Yeah. It's just so stupid. But yeah, the film super bad. That sort of stuff. Like I'll watch
It's
that.
it's a great film. All of these kind of
Yeah.
super bad, knocked up, 40-year-old
Mm.
virgin, this kind of
Yes.
vibe, I'm into that, and I could rewatch it as well. What's
Yeah.
the one?
Mean
Well, there are a
Girls as
few.
well.
Mean
Yeah.
Girls, The Anchorman.
Yeah.
Like, they're kind of a little bit rubbish when you rewatch them, but
Yeah.
I think they take you back to being a teenager and
Yeah.
enjoying it at the same time, and that's why
That's
it's
true.
like, "Ah, those were the days," you know?
Yeah. When I was free. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think maybe that's it. There's like a nostalgia factor in there somewhere. Yeah.
And the first film that you mentioned was, Bridget Jones, and
Yeah.
this year, I believe there was a new Bridget Jones film. Did
I
you
think
manage to watch it?
so. I didn't. No, no. I didn't know it was out. And then when I found out that it had come out, I couldn't find it in any cinemas. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just wait for it to come on Netflix. Just give it a year and it will be on Netflix.
It'll be
And
fine.
yeah, I'll survive. got plenty of other Bridget Jones's films to watch. But yeah, what about you? Do you have a TV series that you always rewatch?
I mean, not exactly ones that I always rewatch, but there are some that I could if I really wanted to. Or some
Okay.
that I could if, for example, my fiance hasn't watched it, then I'd be like, go on then. I'll watch it
Hmm.
with you. And The Office would be a classic example, both
Ah, that's a good
uh,
one.
the
Yeah.
US Office and the British original version. I think this, if I had to pick one, it'd be The Office
Careful.
because. Hmm?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it would be the British or the American one. I thought this was gonna divide
I mean,
people then.
I, I I find it kind of hard to admit, but I probably would watch the US Office before the original UK one.
Oh.
It's just longer, Steve Carell, he's hilarious,
Nice.
and
It's good.
Dwight as well. Like all of the individual characters are so funny. And this is
Yeah.
one that I have rewatched
Yeah.
because I wanted to show my fiance all of the series, and I was like, oh, it'll crack you up so much, you'll be pissing yourself. And she loved it, so
Oh,
maybe
nice.
we'll rewatch it again. But yeah, the
Yeah.
UK is good, but I think the US is it's one of these strange examples of the American kind of topping the original, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think the American one, it doesn't have the cringe factor
Uh-huh.
that the UK one has. Like, you watch the UK one and you feel in your stomach like, oh no, oh no, no, no. Like, was that actually part of the script? I bet sometimes it wasn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes they were improvising, but you have that cringe factor. While with the US one, it's just more straight up jokes and comedy. There's some cringe, but
Mhm.
I don't feel sick watching the American one. The British one, I'm like, oh, I actually want to vomit from secondhand embarrassment.
I mean, it was a masterpiece in
Yeah, in
cringe.
its own way. It really was. It really was. Oh, another one I liked was In-Betweeners. Like, speaking of cringe, In-Betweeners was good. That's a very
Yeah,
famous British TV show. Yeah.
100%. Now, I agree with the In-Betweeners, and this is one
Yeah.
that, again, you'll watch it and then be like, oh, 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 but like, it's kind of hilarious at the same time.
Yeah. It's just so real. I still remember watching The In-Betweeners with my dad, funnily enough. This was years ago. And even my dad would be cracking up. And he said, I just find it so funny because even when I was a kid, I acted in this way. Like,
Uh-huh.
lads have not changed. Like, they're the same in every generation. The stupid jokes that they would make, the things that they would say, the way that they would think, it just hasn't changed. So, yeah, I learned a lot about my dad that day.
And watching it next to him as well, that's a bit
Yeah,
cringy.
it is. But no, I mean, I grew up on stuff like South Park. That probably explains how I've turned out the way I am. Um, so yeah, I mean, if I can sit and watch South Park at like 8 years old with my mum and dad next to me, I think I can watch anything.
They showed you the way, they
They did.
paved the way
The
for you to become the woman you are.
exactly.
Excellent. Well, let us know, guys, if you're watching, if you have watched the US Office, the UK Office, South Park, the In-Betweeners as well. And if you haven't, well, check it out. You'll be cracking up, you'll be pissing yourself laughing.
We
All
hope.
right. Let's move on to another question then. And I've found an interesting one, which is relevant to the industry that we are in, and it's language learning, of course. And it's kind of related to cringy moments too. So,
Oh God.
have you ever had a funny, cringy, unusual misunderstanding when speaking a different language?
Hi. Yeah, many, 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 many. Because if there's one thing about me is that I don't have a filter, and sometimes I will say things, and then it's only until after I've said it I think, "Oh, that wasn't right." Um, a really, I think the worst one was many years ago when I was in a restaurant, and I was still quite new to Spanish. Like I was maybe like A2 level,
Uh-huh.
and And I went to a restaurant with some friends who couldn't speak Spanish. So I was the designated translator and orderer, you know.
Okay.
So one of my friends, she wanted the chicken paella.
I,
And you know where this is
I
going.
can see it coming. Yeah.
And the waiter comes over, is there with his little notepad and his little pen, and he's, taking down the order. Ah, sí, un da 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 da, una Coca-Cola, da da da, y una paella de polla. And he just looked at me and he was like, he literally covered his face, like, with his notepad and just went bright red. And behind it, I could tell that he was laughing. He was like, you know, like laughing away. And he just went like bright red. Oh, I need some water because I'm like done my throat in laughing.
Whilst
But
you're whilst you're having
while
a
I'm
drink,
joking.
by the way, for people who don't speak Spanish, the
Oh,
words
yeah.
chicken and dick are very, very similar. There's just the final letter changes
Yeah.
from chicken,
That's
pollo, to dick, like penis,
the
polla.
penis,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
now you've
So
composed yourself.
I just I was just joking because I was doing that, Um but yeah. I basically ordered my friend a dick paella, and the waiter was just laughing, like bright red, holding his laughter in. And then I realized, like, 3 seconds later, "Oh, shit," And, I'm then going bright red because I realized I made this mistake, and my friends are confused, like, I'm bright red and laughing, okay? I'm not like, "Oh, no." I'm laughing as well at this point. And my friends, all clueless, like, "Emma, why are you bright red? What's going on? Why are you sweating?" Like, I was like, "I just ordered a dick paella." They're like, "What? How did you do that?" So, yeah, and I revisit that town every so often. So it's a restaurant in Tarragona, which is where I
Mhm.
used to live. And even to this day, like 11, 12 years later, 13 years later, I have not gone back to that restaurant. Like, I won't go back.
You should.
Um,
And be like, oh, do you remember me? Oh,
yeah,
the dick paella woman.
yeah. I remember that's how you ordered a dick paella. We actually put it on the menu because of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was one case. Another was when I can't remember who I was speaking to. I think it was the dad of an au pair. So I was an au pair, sorry, which is like a kind of live-in nanny.
Hmm.
So I was an au pair many, many years ago, and there was the mum, the dad, and the kid. And me, the dad, and the kid went out one day, like just going out together. And it was a very hot day. And I said to the dad, "Uf, estoy caliente," which means I'm hot, but it actually, in a Spanish sense, means like I'm horny, like I'm sexually aroused. So I'd literally told the dad, instead of saying, "Oof, I'm hot," because the weather's hot, I
Uh-huh.
literally said, "Oof, I'm aroused."
Could really do with a dick paella right now.
It'd be good. Yeah, a nice cheeky Nick paella. So yeah, I mean, those are just two cases out of many, many, many,
Okay.
many. Lewis, what
But
about you?
I mean, you learn from these moments and
I
you've
don't know
been
what I
able to
learned.
now
I
you
learned
can
nothing.
you can differentiate them. And now you don't make these mistakes again. And
No,
literally,
I do.
oh really?
Well, not the estoy caliente. And with estoy caliente, I'll only ever say it like with my friends or my boyfriend as a joke because they know the English translation. It's like the estoy excitada,
Uh-huh.
like I'm excited, but actually excitada again means sexually aroused. I don't know what it is with the Spanish language and these sexually aroused phrases. But yeah, I mean, if you hear it in English, estoy excitada, it's like I'm excited. But
It
no, it
makes
doesn't
sense.
mean
You
that.
would think. Yeah.
Yeah, one would think, but
I mean,
no.
I think I've made the chicken dick misunderstanding before.
Yeah.
Um, and I've probably done the I'm horny slash hot one before as well.
It's a
Literally,
rite of
as you were
passage.
thinking of them, I was trying to like rack my brain and think like, okay, in Spanish, what words are similar, which ones might I have like mixed up that actually ended up being funny. And
Hmm.
these were two that came to mind because, of
Yeah.
course, you'll make like gender mistakes all the time,
Yeah.
whether it's, I don't know, sin problema, and you might say sin problemo or something similar. But I mean, it's
Exactly.
just like ha ha he he. It's not actually like, come on, cringe moment. Please
Yeah.
get me
Like,
out of here.
I want the ground to swallow me up kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
I'll rack my brain. I'll have a think because I can't imagine or remember any particular moments.
Just so perfect, Lewis, aren't you? Just so perfect at Spanish. You never had a single cringe moment. If you can't think of one, I've got many more. I can throw in another one if you like for the
Like,
entertainment
yeah, I mean,
entertainment factor.
if you know one off the top of your head and it's coming back, please let us know.
Hi, which one do I go with?
I need to remember because I've definitely made some embarrassing, cringy mistakes, but right now, not.
Oh, I know. Hold on. Let me get this one. I think it's this one. 1 second. I'm trying to remember what I said because this is one that I did end up confusing, and then I've kind of forgotten what actually the correct word was because huerta, una
Uh-huh.
huerta is like an allotment or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, orchard, vegetable garden, una huerta. Yeah. But then you have the word, I think is it orto? I think it's orto, which means like your butt.
Uh-huh.
But I'm trying to remember. No, what is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
There's one
No, I think that's right. I think un orto
orto.
is
No, but it says
arse.
traducción al inglés. It says market garden with orto. What is it? There's one I confused when I was talking to Nico's parents. So for people who don't know, Nico is my partner,
Uh-huh.
and his parents speak Spanish, of course, and they don't really speak much English, so I have to speak Spanish. And I was talking about yeah, like, oh yeah, I went to some friend's huerto, but I didn't say huerto, or I can't remember what
You
it
probably
was.
said orto, which I
I
think is a way of saying arse, a way of saying like
Yeah,
bum.
uh, yeah, like I think it is orto.
It was
I'm
such.
trying to find it. People listen because it says huerto. Yeah, I wanted to say huerto, and I said orto or something along those lines. Maybe it was orto actually. No,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
did
I
say
think it is.
vegetable garden. That's not right.
Orto as in
Google
like ORTO, so the silent
exactly.
H.
Yeah,
So I went
yeah,
to my
yeah, yeah,
friend's beautiful arse and
yeah.
picked some flowers.
Because his dad just cracked up. No pun intended there. His dad just cracked up laughing, right? And I was like, what have I said wrong? And they were like, oh yeah, you just said that you've gone to your friend's ass instead of your friend's allotment, like vegetable patch. I was like,
As you
whoops.
do, you know?
So, I mean, with me, you never know. Like, I get about. But yeah, that was another one. Yeah. Oh god, I've got
Okay.
so many. I mean, I can't think of it any more off the top of my head. I wish I could. There was a time as well when, again, this was like right at the beginning of my Spanish learning journey when I could hardly really speak Spanish, and I was talking to my landlords. They were this old couple, again, couldn't really speak English,
Uh-huh.
and you know the word pagar. It means to
Uh-huh.
pay.
Yeah.
But you also have, I never remember what it is, like paja, which means a wank,
Uh-huh.
right? And I couldn't remember the pronunciation of pagar. And of course, in English, as Brits, we remove the final R.
Uh-huh.
So pagar becomes like pagar, you know? And I couldn't remember if it was "h" or "g." So I remember saying to my male landlord, "Oh yeah, I can paga for the rent. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
paga for the rent." And he just looked at me like, "Oh, what?"
This is not that kind of business.
Yeah. Was that in the contract? So yeah, and then I didn't realize until after I was saying to a friend like I couldn't understand why he didn't understand me. I was saying like paja, paja la renta or something. I
Uh-huh.
was saying like this. she's like, oh my God, paja means a wank. He probably thought you wanted to, like, do something to him to pay the rent. Like, I'm a student, but I'm not that desperate, you know?
You should write a book with all of these, I think. So, like,
A nice little
mistakes
memoir.
not to make when you're speaking Spanish. The cringy sexual edition. So please, before you move to Spain, be aware of these things, you know?
And there's like 100 mistakes I've made. Yeah. It's because I just speak, and I don't really care. And this is dangerous.
Related to that, a follow-up question. Is this that as you're getting older, you care less about what people think, or has it always been that way, that where you're like, I'm gonna be me, and I don't care what people think about it?
That's a good question. Definitely the older I've got, the more the less I care. But it's not necessarily because I care less. It's more just, what have I got to be scared of?
Uh-huh.
I mean, right now I live in a village where no one speaks English. So if I go to a bar and I speak English, they're not going to understand me. I have to speak Spanish. So I would rather go in confidently and make mistakes, but get my, tortilla de patatas and whatever it is and my Coca-Cola, like, and be served, and
Uh-huh.
get my food, than be so scared and so self-conscious about making mistakes and be scared to go out or try to speak English to them, because
Mhm.
I'm not going to get anywhere. So my mentality is, yeah, it's just like, why should I be scared? They don't speak English. I have to speak Spanish, and
Yeah.
speaking bad Spanish is better than speaking no Spanish at all.
And it's
Thankfully, I don't
funny, it's
speak bad Spanish.
enjoyable. You can have these moments as well where you look back on it and think like, oh, that was funny, wasn't it?
Exactly. You've had 10 minutes of me sharing my stories. No one can ever be ashamed of their stories. But these stories are good. I mean, these experiences, they become stories, and they're what make us more human.
Exactly.
They're more interesting.
And I'm sure there are many people listening or watching, and they're thinking like, oh, I remember when I made this terrible mistake between, I don't know, bitch and beach, which is a really, really common one.
Yeah.
Shit and sheet, another common one as well. And I'm going to say this because my fiance, wife to be, never listens to these anyway. So it's fine. She's never
Okay.
going to find out. But I remember on Christmas Day, Australia, 8 years ago, more or less. And, there's kind of a drinking game thing that quite a lot of Americans do where they'll hide a Smirnoff Ice in a random place. It sounds like you might not have heard of it, but
No, never
you
heard
can
of
be
this.
iced. And it's a thing that I got from these Canadians that we were sharing a flat with in Melbourne, and they'd randomly hide a Smirnoff Ice, which is alcoholic, but I mean, it doesn't taste like alcohol, and it's a fizzy drink. And they hid one like underneath a cushion just when we were opening presents at Christmas Day back in 2016, 2017, something like that. And um, my wife to be is terrible at downing drinks.
Yeah.
And she'd tried to down it, which was what you had to do when you found the bottle of Smirnoff Ice. And she was trying to do it and laughing and just like, oh my God, the gaze. I can't do it with the gaze. And what she wanted to say was the gas because it
Ah!
was very, very fizzy. So she was like, I can't, there's just so many gays in this. How do you do it with the gays? And this is a funny example of how
Ah,
just
bless
mixing
her.
up the pronunciation of gas, like a fizzy drink, like fizzy
Yeah,
pop, and gay, meaning
I
happy
guess.
or homosexual.
Yeah.
So that's an example that comes to mind, and people sometimes still make this mistake. I'll be like, seriously?
Yeah,
No, we're not
10
going back
years.
there.
Honestly, I can relate to her. Yeah,
Exactly.
I still make the same mistakes. Oh, but that's quite funny. It's
But it's
so,
funny.
like, innocent as well, isn't it? Because you don't realize it's That's what makes it 10 times funnier, is that innocence.
And when you hear these stories or you retell these stories, it does make you look back on them and think like, that was funny. That was a nice time. So it's not like you're trying to hiding or you're living under a cave trying to get away
Yeah.
from these embarrassing, cringy, awkward moments. It's just embracing them and that way not making the same mistakes in the future, in theory.
In theory, in theory. Yeah, you take back a lot of the power. I know that sounds like really cliche, but you really do, because if I believe embarrassment is a choice to some
Mhm,
degree. Like, you can choose to be embarrassed by these things and be like, I'm never going to speak about these again.
mhm.
Or you can own it, and then it just becomes a funny story. And it makes you a much more interesting person, in my opinion. Some people may disagree, but I love hearing stories like this. I think
No,
it's so fun.
I agree 100%, wholeheartedly. And anyway, on that note, let's call it a day. But let us know in the comments if you have any embarrassing stories speaking English. I'd be eager to read them. And yeah, maybe we can, next time we get together, go over some other random questions because you see, these amazing questions, we only got around to like 3 of them.
I know, because
Easy peasy.
we chat for England. So what happens to get two Northerners together?
Exactly. Easy peasy. So anyway, thank you so much, Emma, for joining us. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
everybody, for watching. And we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.